special delivery of a great show. Let's get started.
Hi everybody, welcome to the Aviary. This is Nikki, and Nikki is a Goffin Cockatoo. We want to welcome you to this episode, and I think you're going to enjoy it.
Okay, so we have Murphy here in a towel. We're going to do a physical exam. We use the towels to help protect their wings and also our fingers. So we're going to check her little ears, which you often can't see in birds, her eyes, and her general beak. Often they'll grip onto the towel to hold, but otherwise I use my chest and or an assistant's fingers if need be. We're going to check her crop and her body condition score.
Body condition what now?
Yeah, so the body condition score is an evaluation of how much muscle and fat they have over their body. And so we will use their keel. On a bird that doesn't have many feathers, we can often visualize it. So we'll use their keel as a starting point, and then we want to assess how much fat and muscle is on either sides of the keel. They should be fairly round, form like the bottom of a U. This one's pretty good. The keel is a little prominent, but we have tissues coming right up on the sides there. So she's a good body weight. We're obviously doing some feather plucking. These feathers didn't just fall out on their own. You can see they've been chewed at the base, so that she's done to herself, and or sometimes a mate can do that to them. But this is most likely the bird. What we're often looking for with feather plucking birds is that they're not doing self-mutilation or damaging their skin. We don't see any of that with her. So we're looking for any asymmetry, changes in the oral cavity itself. We're also looking on the roof of their mouth. Birds have something called a choana, and that choana should have little spikes from side to side, which help protect food and other debris from getting up into their sinus cavity. Oral exams can be done a couple different ways. I like to use a little bit of vet wrap just to help me open the mouth, and sometimes a Q-tip. And this usually gives me enough just to open them up. Of course, it's going to be awkward because we're being videoed.
Yeah, of course.
Actually, you are such a good girl. You're very, very strong, so you don't want to get your fingers in there. Yeah, there we go. Good job. Thank you, Annette. It's a fun toy.
So we are out of the doctor's office, and we are in the car ready to go home. We've got Murphy strapped in. I understand she was fabulous, which doesn't surprise me at all. She's a very, very good girl, very calm and very, very social even with new people. And so we got her belted in for safety, and we've got our blanket over 3/4 of the cage. That way she can see me, but she doesn't really have a sense of things rushing by on her side or on top of her, which for some birds can cause sickness or a little bit of nervousness. So we will catch back up when we get back to the aviary.
Our guest today is Dr. Todd Driggers, a graduate of Purdue University School of Veterinary Medicine. Dr. Driggers was a 2016 finalist for the T.J. Lefebvre Avian Practitioner of the Year Award.
Let's jump right in, Dr. Driggers. We really appreciate you taking the time to talk with us today and to go over a little bit about a wing trim method, I guess you would say, that you've introduced. We're really interested to hear about this. Wing trimming is a bit of a controversial topic to parrot owners. People want to trim for a variety of reasons, and they don't want to trim for a variety of reasons. So wing trimming, is it good? Is it bad? Or is it more nuanced than that?
So wing trimming is a compromise of their overall welfare, and it can be done in worse ways and it can be done in better ways. So there's lesser ways to compromise the welfare that is technique dependent and still give them some of the abilities to say yes or no in negative situations. So when we stop their ability to evolutionarily respond to something of a noxious stimuli and they can't fly away, or every time they do fly, they hurt themselves, that's a compromise of welfare. If they're able to at least land well, take off, and get away or affect athletically their stress levels by diminishing their cortisol with flight, then that is a situation that is, I would call, a lesser compromise of welfare. I'm not a proponent of wing trimming. I'm not a proponent of leaving them full flighted. I'm a proponent of assessing that individual bird's needs in its individual housing situation to mitigate the risk of it hurting itself and to maximize the chances that it can respond behaviorally in a positive way.
Here at the aviary, we find that when we have, let's say, an aggressive bird, especially Amazons, who tend to be more willing to bite when aggressive, that would be about the only time we would do a wing trim, is if the bird was aggressively flying towards the face to be able to attack. And the wing trim is done only so that we can get some space to be able to start the behavior modification, the step up onto a stick, the target training, and then we let the wings grow out. So we don't do it very often because, just as you say, we want the bird to have that freedom of choice, but also the exercising, as you're saying, is really important. So with that, you've introduced a variation on wing trims, which I find really interesting because it seems to be a compromise.
Right off the bat, I will say we don't perform any traditional wing trims here at the office, and the reason is because it is such a compromise in their ability to move and to say yes or no. So we feel that that's an inalienable right, that they're able to say yes or no to something, and that they're able to not get hurt in situations, in captive situations that and we want to just ensure that they have that welfare and that choice. So with that in mind, as the normal wing is stretched out, you have primary feathers 10 through 1, and then the secondary feathers that are associated with, sort of the landing gear. Those feathers, the longer the feathers and the longer the feathers are from the tip of one wing to the tip of the other, has to do with the aspect ratio, and the width of the wing increases a bird's ability to maneuver or stop quickly. Longer, thin wings are meant for gliding. Long and fat wings are meant for, maneuvering. So you can tremendously manipulate their ability to maneuver by trimming them, which again, I think is an ethical compromise. When we don't take the length of any of the feathers off, but the width, which is the back edge of that feather off, you do a few things for them. So one thing is you maintain that aspect ratio, and their ability to land and fly is much better. We leave more of the tip of that wing tip on if the bird is heavier or if there's been a compromise in that a bird's ability to be mobile, if there's been a past injury or something to that effect. So you have a trailing edge, a leading edge and a trailing edge, and that trailing edge is the only part that we really trim. So you have some nice diagrams up here that show the skinny trim versus the traditional trim, which is mid shaft, or some people even go below the coverts. So the traditional trims usually involve shortening of the primary feathers. Some people even shorten the secondary feathers. When you shorten the feathers, you and the way that the birds hold their wings, they actually tuck their wrist underneath those secondary feathers. So if you cut the primary feathers and they are tucked position, you stand the risk of them actually poking themselves and irritating their sides. So we don't do that trim. You also are removing a significant amount of their aspect ratio, which is the length of the entire wing from one tip to the other, which increases the gravitational pull or makes them fall very fast in comparison. So we try not to trim any of the length, we trim the width. Furthermore, as cut feathers are a length, when a new feather comes in or molts behind it, it sprouts out past the length of those cut feathers, which then predisposes it to further trauma. So you oftentimes will get broken blood feathers based upon the fact that that new feather is longer than the cut tips on the cut wing or on the cut feather itself. So there's a lot of reasons that we don't do the traditional trims, and it does take a lot of education when clients come in, because they can go to a pet store and the pet store will do it just as they like. But we spend a lot of time educating the clients based upon the risk factors, the positives, the negatives, and whatnot of why we don't do the traditional trim. And usually when we introduce the idea of the skinny trim, which is that third thing down that we're going to talk about now, they feel that it cosmetically looks better. They know that it impacts the welfare in a positive way, and they feel better about the bird's ability to respond in a negative or positive situation, so they can actually connect and communicate, which not the voice isn't the only thing that they connect and communicate with. The wings are I think the wings cast a vote towards something that they want to be with or something that they want to be away from.
Mm-hmm.
That allows you to go from gear 1 to 10 versus when you cut all of those feathers off, you are stuck in first gear and they fall rapidly. So this is just but one more aspect of their welfare that I think that we have to begin to steward and look at, is to increase their freedom and their choices and try to expand their Umwelt, the world of senses and their sensory bubbles.
I think, from a welfare point of view, this is a real advancement. If we have a compromise, which is better for the bird all the way around, we're thrilled, absolutely thrilled.
Perfect.
So thanks so much.
Today, I'm thrilled to guide you through a unique and heartfelt feature of our aviary, our donor wings. This eye-catching display, adorned with feathers of various sizes and hues, beautifully illustrates the immense generosity of our donors. Each feather here is a token of the love and support our feathered friends receive from you. Every feather on this wall has a story to tell, a tale of kindness, dedication, and a deep commitment to the well-being of parrots. Our donors, through their cumulative contributions, move through different tiers, starting from a generous $5,000 and soaring to an awe-inspiring $250,000 and beyond. But this wall, these wings, they're much more than just a display. They're a dynamic, evolving tribute to the spirit of giving and compassion. Keep an eye out as we share these touching tales of generosity and our shared love for parrots. a heartfelt thank you to each one of you for your steadfast support. We've launched a GoFundMe campaign to help us navigate through these tough times. Your contributions are incredibly valuable, and they'll not only support our mission but also add to your presence on our Wings of Refuge. For more information and to contribute, please visit our website.
That's a wrap from the Aviary. Please, leave a comment or emoji, tap that like button, subscribe or donate. Till next time, avoid being eaten.